I'm Gemma Brown, your host of the Level Up podcast. I went from that shy little girl giving secret speaking gigs to her teddies to my late 20s, a mum of 2 boys, about to marry her high school sweetheart, feeling stuck in my fashion business and honestly lost in who I was. Fast forward to 40, I'm a mentor, educator, Reiki practitioner, happy mama and wife, confident in who I am and where I'm going. Join me as I cover everything from personal growth, health, happiness, and business. I'm here to remind you that you have the power to create the life you want and step into the version of you know you can be. It's time to shoe the shoulds. It's time to stop settling for less. It's time to level up. Hello, and welcome to today's podcast. Whew, life is so busy, right? Like, it always is. No matter what is happening in our world, everything's moving all of the time. And at this point in New Zealand, our kids have just started back to school after 2 months off for our youngest and 3 months off for our eldest. So like our big summer holidays have just started back. And there's nothing quite like that back to school rush when you're switching up your routines, you're trying to get back into a routine, you're trying to organize yourself after months of kind of flowing with little to no routine. Even if you're perhaps working or you're running a business, like your hours have been different, your tasks and your to-do list have looked very different, right? And I feel like, school starts back and I feel like I'm finally getting like my meals sorted again. Our weekly shop is a little bit more in routine because we're not doing like weekends away as much, or there's not random barbecues popping up from the summer holidays, right? My sleep cycle needs adjusted back into perhaps what it used to be. And I feel like there's all of a sudden a lot of things I need to remember, like sports and notices and drop-offs and pickups, like uniforms ready, lunches, all the things, right? And although there's a heap of things happening during the school holidays too, it's different every single day. So I feel great at this time of year. I miss the kids when they go back to school, and at the same time, how great is it being able to set up a little bit of a routine that doesn't exist during the holidays, right? We can actually fall into a bit of a groove, and I feel like starting back at school gives us the ultimate chance to actually set up a new routine, right? Choose new upgraded habits, organize ourselves so that we can show up the best that we can, right? With our sanity attached. And so I really do love this time of year. And I joke to some people that my year properly starts the start of February when our kids go back to school. And of course I don't mean that. And then in a lot of ways, it does, in terms of, I'm like, okay, great. This is when I can really set up great habits and routines for myself. This is really when I can create structure to be able to move the needle forward, and moving out of that summer flow feeling into a little bit more of a productive, routine, habit-based, structured life while still having that great flow, right? Like we get to still have some of that in our life, the parts of it that we really enjoy, and to be able to have a little more structure. And organization is such a funny thing for parents, for business owners, and particularly like mums in business, right? To find any kind of organizing or structure that is going to help us and is going to save us some sanity is everything, like everything. So, as I say, I actually love the thought of having no routine. I have the personality that loves to flick from one thing to the next, like base it on my energy and how I'm feeling. I like to flow in my feminine, like creative energy as much as I can. And I know that a lot of you will relate to this. Like, I love having the choice of like, what should I do today? What should I create today? Like, what should we eat today? Without everything being super planned. And though, here's the thing. I've really learned that if I have some sort of organized structure to what I am creating and to my days and my weeks, then it actually allows me to flow even better, right? When I have these great foundations and systems in place for myself. It means that I'm not just flowing all over the place. I'm actually flowing forward with intention and with direction, right? It means that my creative flow energy is actually leading me in the direction I want to go instead of just round in circles. So today I'm going to share 5 of my organizing hacks that save me sanity, and frankly I just can't live without, and I really think they're going to help you and save you sanity as well. And these are all things that don't cost me money, don't cause you extra stress, don't take a lot of time. In fact, if anything, they will save you money, they will save you time, and they will actually give you more mind space and more sanity. So here goes. Let's dive into the organizing hacks. So organizing hack number 1, having a wall planner for the whole family and then a Google Calendar for me. Now, if your whole family uses Google Calendar, then absolutely you can then connect them, right? You can connect your Google Calendar so you can see what everybody else is doing. You can make sure that you're all synced and where you need to be at different times. If there's like dinner that needs to be cooked, if you need to get to different classes at different times, Google Calendar is a really great way of doing that if everybody in your family uses it, and you can then click them all to sync together, which is really cool. And you can see what everybody else is doing at every given time. However, in my family, and I know in a lot of yours, I am the only one using Google Calendar. So I like to put all of my things in there where I need to be, what I am doing at different times. Usually a lot of it is my work stuff, my work meetings, my work tasks, classes that I am going to, all sorts of things like that. I put everything into my Google Calendar. It means that I've got it obviously on my laptop, on my phone. So if someone says, do you want to have this barbecue? Do you want to have this meeting? Are you available to go to this event? I've got my calendar here, right? And what I love about that is I've got it with me all of the time. I can add and take out things really easily, right? It's not like you have to get out the old twink and amend your calendar. So I love having my Google Calendar. And though, what I really love in this season of my life and what is really working well is to have a big monthly wall planner hanging in our kitchen, like literally hanging on our kitchen wall, where we can have all the kids stuff, all the family stuff, and any of my stuff that impacts the family. So anything that's during the school hours, I don't even bother putting on the calendar, right? Because unless it's an important, appointment that I'm going to need support at or anything like that, it's not going to be irrelevant to the family, right? No one else is going to need to pick up the kids because of it, anything like that. So anything that is going to impact the family, like classes that I might want to attend in the evening or catch-ups with friends outside of school hours, I also add all of that to the monthly wall planner on our kitchen wall. And look, this is gold for a number of reasons, because it means that the kids can all put their work shifts on there. They can put their sports practices, all of the things. My husband Andrew and I can add any social events, family events, anything that we're doing solo that's going to affect the family. And that way we can know what's happening and know what each other are doing so that we can make sure that we get the kids to everywhere that they need to be, right? Still make sure that dinner's on the table if one of us has got a class to go to. So it allows us to just be so organized, and it's right up there on the kitchen wall. Like everyone can see it. And I think the reason why this has given me so much sanity is because it's up there for everyone to see. So everyone knows what's happening. It's not all on my mind. It's not all just on my calendar. It's not all just flying around in my memory, right? It's taken everything out of my brain and onto paper for everyone to see. And so everyone can start making their own plans, right? Finding out if things are going to clash or not before they make the plan. And suddenly I don't feel like I need to be in 10 places at once because people know what I'm currently doing and know what I'm currently available for. And I just update the wall planner every few days with anything from my calendar that I actually do need to put on the family calendar, right? That is going to impact the family. And one day, look, who knows, one day we might all be using Google Calendar and it will make it even easier. But at the moment, I really love having a good old paper and pen wall planner on the wall. The kids can easily add anything, see what's happening. We can see where we are in the month, see how close it is to their birthdays, right? All of the things. And it's just so easy in plain sight for us all to see what's happening every day, every week coming up. So it's so great. And actually, I just get ours from Kmart. I think it's like $11. And I've bought the same one like the past 3, 4, 5 years. So great. So affordable. It's just a plain, beautiful calendar on the wall. It's so good. Now, number 2 organizing hack is time blocking. Now, I know all of you would have heard about time blocking and you may even be rolling your eyes, but hear me out. So I used to time block in a few different ways. I used to time block in a big way on my Google Calendar. And I also tried it in Asana, and I tried having a huge to-do list that didn't time block at all and just ticking everything off, getting really excited as I did. And all of these ways can work really, really well. And however, I just was finding myself really overwhelmed, especially when I was using digital. So I think I found myself adding so much stuff, right? In a digital calendar, it's really easy. You have so much space just to be able to add as much as you want. And I didn't even end up following it. So organizing myself in that way ended up such a waste of time. And having a to-do list, I love a good to-do list. But kind of the same thing, right? If someone said write down all the things you need to do, I could probably go on for 10 pages, and some of it would be things that I actually don't need to do in any sort of hurry, and some of it would be things that I really need to remember to do today, tomorrow, like phone calls I need to make, or appointments I need to make, or scripts I need to pick up. So a long to-do list can be extremely overwhelming for me too. So what I have started doing, which is the simplest time blocking tool ever, and I actually learned this off my Instagram friend Brooke, shout out to Brooke. I literally get an A4 piece of paper and I actually use my kids' old school books that still have some pages in them, like no joke. I have a big stack of them and it's just so good to have scrap paper, right? But I grab a page and I hand draw a grid on it. I either divide the page into 4 or 6, depending on the day, right? And I literally write in each cube 8 to 10 a.m., 10 to 12 noon, 12 till 2 p.m., 2 to 4 p.m., right, etc. And then I write down a couple of things that I need to be doing in each of those cubes, in each of those time slots. And that's how I do it. And you know what? Sometimes when I'm feeling like I really am finding it hard to get focused, I even fold up the bit of paper so I can only see the 2-hour time cube, the 2-hour time block that I'm currently in. Sometimes we overcomplicate how we organize ourselves, right? Sometimes something as basic as this changes a long to-do list into manageable chunks of 2 hours. And this has actually stopped me from overloading myself, because when I see it laid out in that way, I can clearly see, so much clearer, how much I can get done in those 2-hour chunks. It's so easy to overestimate how much you can get done in a day, but when you see it in a 2-hour chunk, you're like, right, I'm actually not going to be able to fit 10 different things and head out and do 5 different messages in those 2 hours. That's actually going to be too much. So it allows you to be able to structure your day in a way that actually leans towards caring for yourself, ensuring that you're actually going to be productive and get something done without feeling overwhelmed and without feeling depleted and frustrated and just losing all sanity, right? So what I've found from the time that I started doing this is I was actually so much more aware of what I could get done during that time. So as I say, I wasn't trying to fit too much in. I wasn't trying to turn on myself for not getting enough done at the end of the day. That awful feeling when you flop down into bed and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't get enough done, or I didn't get anything done, right? Because I just got overwhelmed and went into complete paralysis. I actually have found that I'm more productive, because seeing that I just had to focus on a couple of things during this time chunk means that I focused in and did them with intention, being present, right, with all of my energy. And I actually ended up getting them faster, like getting them done faster than usual. So sometimes I even ended up with extra time, which one was great because I actually managed to breathe and look after myself. And two, sometimes it actually meant that I could pick up and do something else that I really would love to get done. So I went from the space of it being completely overwhelmed with a long to-do list to at the end of the day being like, whoa, I actually got a heap done and I feel really great still. Like I'm not feeling like I've completely worn myself out. So it's so great. You've got to give that one a go. Number 3 organization hack is batch tasking. Now, again, you've probably heard of batch tasking, and seriously, I rolled my eyes at this for so long because I felt like this was a little bit of a name of trying to get me to do too many things at once. I felt like this was a huge be more productive thing, right? But it's actually quite the opposite, right? Batch tasking in multiple areas of my life has actually helped to simplify my life. So what is batch tasking? So batch tasking is grouping the same action together. So instead of, say, writing one email every hour of your day, you sit down and you spend an hour writing 10 emails, right? Or instead of setting up your podcast gear and recording one podcast every week and then putting everything away, perhaps you set up and you record 4 for the entire month, right? So you set up your equipment, record 4 podcasts, and then pack everything away. You can do this in so many areas of your life. You could change all your beds at once and get it all done in one day. You could do meal prep and cook batches of meals in advance and freeze them. You can do loads of washing over the weekend and then have a big fold session at night while you're watching something on TV. Like it's like having 5 little errands to do and popping out of the house 5 separate times throughout the day. I mean, no, right? You gather them together and you do them all in one outing if you can, right? It's way more efficient on your time because if we're doing something more than once, we can usually do it far more efficiently, right? If we combine them together. It's way easier on the brain because when we're focused in on something and we're on a roll with something, it's easier for our brain to just keep doing it. So I actually like to give my week a little audit and see where I can batch task, right? Perhaps there's a few messages that I do need to do. Perhaps I need to do some more meal prepping. And I think, actually, I'm going to do a bit of a batch cooking session. And I quite often do this on a Sunday, whether it is like preparing meals or whether it is actually batch cooking on a Sunday, meaning I'm super organized for the week, right? And I also love to use it within my business. So I have a big planning day where I pinpoint the topics of my podcast, my blog posts, my emails, my social media. And then I have a big writing session separately where I write all the notes for a month's worth of podcasts. And I often record a month's worth of podcasts in one sitting. And then I edit them and schedule them in another sitting. So you can see how it gives me so much more sanity doing it this way. It makes it clear, it makes it precise. You get in the zone of writing or the zone of recording podcasts or the zone of editing and scheduling. And you can see how you can map that across to all areas of your life, right? Doing anything in batches just makes sense and you're far more efficient with your time and your brain power. Number 4 organizing hack is writing a to-do list the night before for the next day. Now, as I say, I've moved on from just doing a plain to-do list, but same goes, right? And this is something that has actually helped me in like multiple ways. So I have a super busy mind, especially at night. When I get into bed, it is racing, right? So brain dumping everything on my mind is really great because it gets it out of my head and I don't feel like I need to be remembering everything or thinking about everything. However, I can't just brain dump everything on paper for my poor morning mind to be overwhelmed with, can I? So I do a brain dump and then I use this brain dump to actually plan out my next day using that blocking hack that I talked about earlier. So dividing the page into like 6 and then putting my to-do list, putting that brain dump into what do I actually need to do today and what do I actually want to tick off the list, right? This helps me to see what I need to remember the next day, what I'm focusing on the next day, what I physically need to do, like pickups and drop-offs for the kids, right? It lets me see where I'm actually going to want and need to have mental space, time for myself to look after me. And it actually gives me a heads up if there's going to be very little time for me the next day. So I can really get myself organized, have food ready for myself, make sure I maybe take my book so I can, read for those 10 minutes in between this and that, right? And it also helps me in the morning because it means I can straight away get excited and focused for what I need to do in just the next couple of hours only, without getting all worried about the entire day and all that I have to do, right? So often we start our days worrying about everything that we've got to do, everything we've got to remember. But if we can have it planned out and mapped out in those 2-hour blocks throughout the day, it is just so much better for our sanity, so much better for our mental health, I believe. So I love doing that. I love writing a to-do list or a little bit of a plan for the next day every night before I go to bed. Number 5 organizing hack is planning meals for the week. And this has been game changer for me, like absolute game changer. And I mean, it all sounds too simple, right? And it also sounds really boring sometimes. I get it. And trust me, if you don't already do this, it will absolutely change your weeks. So the first thing, I do a few things actually. So the first thing I do is I plan out my meals for the week. So usually I plan 6 meals and then I allow for 1 takeaway night. And this allows me to also look at things like nights that are going to be super tight for time, like with kids' sports or exercise classes, or maybe one of them has an exam the next day. So we can be studying full on the night before, whatever it is. And then I get to actually create my shopping list and keep those meals in mind, get everything I need, obviously adding anything else like lunches, breakfast, household stuff. And I do my shopping online. Like, this has been huge for me. Not everyone loves to do their shopping online, but our supermarket that I do it at is fantastic. They always give me incredible fruit and veggies, great meat. So this keeps me on track. It gives me time to browse the best prices and the brands. It also helps me stay on a budget, and it also helps me take anything out at the end of the shop that might be thinking, that's a little bit unnecessary, or we're not quite out of that yet. If we go over budget, right? So great. Like, I guarantee I wouldn't do that at the checkout. Then I write the meals that I decided on for that week on a whiteboard that I have stuck to our fridge. So everyone can see what we're having each night, right? No one needs to ask me what's for dinner, right? And they can even, shock horror, start to cook it if they want to, okay? And the last thing that I do, is I like to batch cook or batch prep some of the meals during the weekend. So I do things like I cut vegetables up, or I cut the meat up, or I even go as far as like cooking the spaghetti bolognese and then I refrigerate it. So all I've got to cook is the pasta, right? Anything to make during the week seamless for us. It gives me extra sanity. It helps us stay on track to eat really good meals and just stay organized for the week, so that when we are having those nights where we come home late from kids' sport, it's organized, right? It's ready for us. There's very limited to do. We know what's for dinner. Like, it's ready, right? In this busy world, often as mums, parents, business owners, we have jobs, hobbies, right? So many places for us to be. It's so easy to get overwhelmed. And we forget that there are so many ways that we can make things easier for ourselves. So these organizing hacks are truly things that really help me personally, and I hope that they inspire you to give them a go as well. So a quick reminder of the 5 organizing hacks that I just talked about today. We've got the family wall planner up on the kitchen wall and a Google Calendar for myself, time blocking, batch tasking, and writing a to-do list and mapping it out the night before, and planning meals for the week. It really is possible to save us a little sanity on the things that we can control, right? It makes our days and weeks run a lot smoother. I really hope these help you as much as they do me. Give them a go and be sure to let me know how you find them. You can connect with me over on Instagram and come and chat to me, or you can pop a comment below and let me know how you go. But happy organising, guys. I'll see you next week. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Level Up podcast. I hope today's episode filled you with inspiration, taught you something you can take action on, and empowered you to step into alignment with that next level version of you. If you've enjoyed today's episode, head over to gemmabrown.co.nz to immerse yourself with even more inspiration, freebies, and more. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and I will see you next time.